Here are 20 greatest free Steam games that I highly recommend you play in 2025. We've picked the best games from a bunch of different genres that will get you through this year with ease. I am going to start this list with probably the most fun multiplayer shooter released so far, Grapples Galore. It's a brand new FPS that lets you swing around like Spidey while blasting enemies. The movement is super smooth, the gunplay feels great, and the grappling hook makes everything 10 times more fun. You can use it to zip across the map, pull off crazy midair shots, or even yank enemies right into your fire line. This game's super fun to play and seriously addicting. Speaking of brand new and FPS games, we also got Fragpunk. This one just came out, and despite its not so great reception, it's still one of the best and innovative shooters you can play for free. It mixes tactical shooting with ability-based gameplay, letting you change the flow of battle with game-changing power-ups. I am really digging the popping art style in this one, especially with its intense action. And of course, I had to include Marvel Rivals in this list because, honestly, this game is ruling the genre right now. This one's super chaotic, kind of like Overwatch but with superheroes, letting you blast enemies as Iron Man, smash through walls as Hulk, or teleport around as Nightcrawler. I mean, the choices are endless. The game keeps on expanding with new content and people are absolutely loving it. Then, if you are looking for something more adventurous but also cozy, check out Sheepy, a short adventure. This one's a more chill and charming little game that's all about exploration, puzzles, and obstacles. You play as a cute plushy sheep on a wild journey in an unknown world, solving environmental challenges and uncovering a simple yet heartwarming story. It's a short game, but it's packed with personality that makes it a great break from all the high-intensity action games. Speaking of high-intensity games, we got Delta Force back in business with a new DLC. This one's a must-play for all the military action fans who want tactical FPS mixed with realistic gunplay. This isn't a run-and-gun type of FPS at all. This one takes real strategy, teamwork, and well-coordinated attacks to get through. And unlike most free FPS games, this one's even got vehicles that make battlefields feel more alive. When it comes to racing games, my obvious pick is Asphalt Legends Unite. This game is simply brilliant. It's got all the goodness of an arcade racer, alongside a ton of high-speed stunts that makes it so addictive. The game also comes packed with a wide variety of cars that let you drift, jump, and overtake even the most fiercest rivals. But if you're looking for something more creative while sticking with the racing genre, you gotta check out Screwdrivers. Instead of just picking a car, you actually build your own from Lego-like pieces, and the possibilities are wild. You can create anything from a basic boxcar to some of the most over-the-top designs your creativity allows. Then, you take it to the tracks and race against other players where things can get really chaotic, especially when collisions send cars flying apart into pieces. Or if you're into sports, check out Slapshot Rebound, a fast-paced, physics-based hockey game that doesn't care much about realism but fun. It's still super challenging. There's no auto-aim or easy shots here. You have full control over your stick, meaning every pass, shot, and goal is completely manual. It takes some time to master, but once you get the hang of it, pulling off slick plays and scoring goals feels insanely satisfying. Then we have this weird yet super fun FPS called Strinova, a fresh take on the shooter multiplayer genre. You play as these cute anime characters, but the fun part is that your characters switch from 3D to 2D and act as shadows that climb the walls. The maps are also beautifully designed, and the game throws in some unique mechanics that make every battle feel different. Then we got Illusion Carnival, a wild FPS that throws you into this trippy, unpredictable world where reality bends and changes as you play. The gameplay keeps on changing. I mean, one moment you're in a normal shootout, the next you're dodging crazy enemies and insane attacks. The game's weird and unique, and it's definitely something different from your usual shooters. Then we have SuperVive, which is like a wild mix of MOBA Battle Royale and hero shooter, where you jump right into epic battles. This game is insanely addictive with its fast-paced gameplay and crazy movement. If you are tired of traditional action games, you gotta try this one out. It's definitely gonna keep you hooked for hours on end. Now guys, I am not really into sci-fi games, but Girls Frontline 2 Exilium really caught my attention. It's a tactical FPS game that puts a lot of emphasis on strategy and high-speed combat. It takes the original game's world and pushes it into full 3D with intense battles and even a deep storyline. If you love anime, you will totally dig the game's anime-style aesthetic. Then there's Palia, a perfect game for anyone looking for a more cozy option. It's a farming sim plus MMO that ditches combat for exploration, farming, and community building. This game lets you do all the fun stuff, like crafting, fishing, decorating your home, and hanging out with friends in a beautiful open world. If you're into games like Animal Crossing or Stardew Valley but want something online, Palia is the perfect chill experience. Next up, we got Warhammer 40k Speed Freeks, the perfect mix of action and racing. Think of it as Mad Max, but in the Warhammer 40k universe, and it's totally free to play. In this game, you are not simply racing, but you get to blow up enemies, boost through insane battlefields, and just cause trouble in crazy-looking war machines. Definitely a banger worth checking. Now, if you are looking for something more fun to play with friends, I highly recommend Supermarket Together. This one's a hilarious co-op game where you and your friends run a supermarket, or at least try to. It's total chaos as customers flood in, you need to restock the shelves, and things constantly go wrong. You'll be juggling tasks, panicking as the store turns into a disaster, and somehow trying to keep everything under control. This one's great for players who want something similar to Overcooked but free. Then we have Bloodstrike, probably one of the best battle royale games out there in 2025. This game lets you tag along with your friends and jump into epic battles that keep you hooked for hours. Unlike most BR games, this one lets you enjoy multiple game modes, including solo and squad fights with zone controls. It's a great option for anyone who enjoys BR games. Next is Clap Clap from Nightmare Files, and this one's a horror game where you play as a house sitter who finds themselves in the middle of paranormal activities. You will have to look for solutions to puzzles that allow you to move around the house, and on top of that, you will be doing the regular stuff like cooking, taking out garbage, doing house chores, while staying out of trouble. If you were into horror games, this one's a must-play for you. While we are still on the topic of horror games, we also got this brand new immersive sim called Pathologic 3 Quarantine. This one's a narrative-driven adventure that throws you in an abandoned town that's plagued by a mysterious disease. You play as a scientist who takes it upon himself to examine the patients and find out how this plague has spread and even encounter some strange occurrences. Now, this isn't a new game. In fact, it's been out and around for a while now, but if you are into fighting games, Brawlhalla still remains the top choice. It's a multiplayer platform fighter where you try to throw your opponents off the platform and become the last one standing. The game comes packed with a wide roster of characters, each with their own skills and abilities, and it just keeps on evolving. Last but not least, we got this amazing MMORPG that's totally free to play. The game lets you get into intense and massive PvE battles, where you get to transform into different creatures and use their powers to fight other players and bosses. The game hosts over 30,000 players, which is awesome for someone looking to engage in intense multiplayer matches. And with that, we have reached the end of our list. I am sure you must have found at least a few good ones here, but if you are more into FPS games, make sure to check out my other list, where I talk about 20 awesome shooters. That's all for this video, and I will see you in the next one.